Hello guys, I'm Chris Martin with the Real Albuquerque. We have Danyella Nava here with Made So Modern at Made So Modern on Instagram, Made So Modern at gmail.com.
That's right.
And Danyella Nava, Danyella Nava on Facebook, right?
Yes.
We got it right.
Yeah.
Did I give you your water?
Yeah, you gave it to me.
Okay.
Thanks.
We just finished our burrito review, which is actually probably one of our more interesting burrito reviews. It was Wex and I don't have the bag to look
Federico's.
Federico's. Federico's and Wex. Very interesting. I'll let you go and watch that to hear, kind of know what we're talking about, but very interesting.
Yes.
Wild. It just tastes. You gotta watch it.
I have like a lingering taste.
Yes, me too. Okay, so today we're with Danyella Nava, who's with Made So Modern, and I've worked with Danyella at Best Buy in the Geek Squad. Then you moved to the Apple Store, right, doing the Apple stuff. Genius Bar.
At the Genius Bar, yeah.
Which is really cool. Was it really fun there?
Oh yeah, it was a very different like environment. Like, very different from like Geek Squad at Best Buy. Very fast paced. It was nice because unlike some of the things that we did at Best Buy, we had a lot more opportunity to actually do some in-house like repair work.
Oh right, yeah. Some of the stuff at Best Buy, I remember we had to send out
to like a repair center.
Yeah.
But like at the Apple Store, we are like basically.
Yeah. What happens? What's behind the Genius Bar? I always want to know like the secret.
It's a secret.
Okay.
No. I don't know.
Is it a bunch of rows where people take phones apart? And how long does it take to
we
learn?
just have like a repair bench and in the
much
back,
like we had at Geek Squad?
Right,
Okay.
and then in the back they hold a lot of the parts and stuff that we can.
Do you have one guy who knows how to do all that? Or how long does it take
We all know how to do it.
You all know how to take down the screens and do all this stuff and change the batteries and all this stuff?
Yeah, we all get trained.
Really?
Especially to do that. So yeah, we all.
That's crazy.
I shouldn't say now. I mean, I'm not part of that anymore.
Right.
But
at the time,
they all know how to do that. And at the time, I was.
That's pretty cool. Was it pretty simple? I know
some repairs were more simple than others, but some of them took a few hours to do.
Yeah, I know when you break it down and you see the videos and you're like, I need to change like the microphone or something or the speaker, and like you have to take this whole thing off and you have to take the back plate off on some of them.
Be careful not to break anything along the way.
Yeah, and you have all these things, and I'm like, you watch a YouTube video and this guy makes it look easy, and then I'm like, I can't reproduce this here.
Yeah.
It's like too much time.
Too much.
And I need my phone to work, right?
Right.
But now you're doing the Made So Modern, which, let's go back into the history of that.
Okay.
You said you started very young at like 9 or something.
Yeah, I started...
and you have your original one?
Yes, I started quilting when I was about 9 or 10 years old. I drove my mother crazy, so...
Oh, that's a cool pattern.
Yeah, this was my very, very, very first quilt, so it's very, I guess, amateur.
No, it looks great.
I was like 9 or 10 when I made this.
I'm seeing stuff here that looks highly technical. Well, like these. I don't even know how that's possible or what that is, but it looks cool.
This is just like the embroidery floss that you can like buy at Hobby Lobby.
It's cool.
But yeah, I don't even do this anymore on my quilts. This is kind of a thing that I did when I was younger before I learned how to machine quilt.
Oh, okay. So you have a machine that you do all this with?
You piece all the pieces together with the machine and then usually quilt over it, and I could show you an example. But
yeah. This is pretty cool. Where do these patterns come from?
Well, the fabric you buy at a quilt shop.
But I mean, is there anything behind it? Why I ask is because when
this pattern. You're talking about like the design of it.
Yeah, well, these little squares. Now, why I ask is my grandma made me a quilt that I was telling you about back. I don't know, Grandma, if you're watching this, if you're on the YouTube or not, or on iTunes, I'd be surprised.
Hey, my grandma, she's on Facebook. She knows how to use.
My grandma's on Facebook too, so I'll send you the link, Grandma, and maybe you'll watch it. But she made this quilt, and the squares were all from. So she used to make clothes for my sister and me. She would make dresses for my sister, and all the empty patterns that the empty material she had from dresses, she made me a quilt.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's why I was asking if these were anything special.
No,
because
they're
that's
not.
where she got
this is
hers.
just fabric that I picked.
Okay.
When I was 9 or 10, I just liked these colors and I put them together, and
it's pretty beautiful. If you can't see this, we're looking at a bunch of green, orange, pink, yellow, and a bunch of flowers. It's a pretty cool pattern.
It's cute. And then I also brought like...
Oh, it's cool. Look on the back. It's green with little clovers.
I guess that's what they are, yeah.
Well,
I haven't actually seen this in like years. I just
really?
got it this morning.
Oh, really?
My mom had it, so I picked it up from her house. And
oh, that's cool.
I was like, I need to bring this because it's fun to show like the history.
Oh, see, these floss things actually go through the whole
Yeah,
bottom.
so it holds, there's something called batting in the middle, and it holds it in place so that it doesn't like all just go down to the bottom. It keeps it together.
I'm trying to, I know what you're talking about.
So this is also very similar. This is
cool.
This is the second quilt I ever made.
This is the second one?
Yes, and this one's called an I Spy quilt because every little block has something different in it.
That's beautiful.
So
there's a Corvette, we got Snoopy, we got a bear in an airplane. I saw a cat earlier, we got a pizza. We got bears in business suits.
Elephants.
Oh, elephants.
Little Scotty dogs.
Oh, wow.
Oh, jelly beans, look.
Oh, yeah, jelly beans.
Pineapple. Love
there we
pineapple
go.
jelly bean. I
Got
didn't
the
know
horse, little mouse, snowman guy. Yeah, this is pretty fun.
Yeah, so this one is called the I Spy quilt for an obvious reason. And it's the same method.
That's cool. You keep the batting here with these...
With the little floss ties.
Now, is this method not done anymore, or is it still done? And why did you stop?
It's kind of... Okay, so the reason why I did it this way is because I was 10, I was learning. Typically, though, it's not seen unless it's like a very basic... Well, I shouldn't say that. Some people probably could still use it.
Oh, okay.
But
there's other ways to do the same thing.
To hold the batting, yeah, and it's to quilt the quilt top, and I'll show you. I have an example of one that I machine quilted, and you'll see the difference.
Ah, okay.
So, yeah, I thought it was fun, so I wanted to bring some of the first ones I ever did.
Yeah, that reminds me of Gary from SpongeBob.
Oh, it does. How
Gary
funny.
the cat.
I'm pretty sure that was made before SpongeBob came out. Because this is very old.
Oh yeah, look at the planes.
You know, oh, here's the cat.
Oh yeah, there he is.
So it kind of looks like Chloe.
Yeah, it does. She looks happy.
Where is she? I miss
I don't
her.
know. Chloe. Here, kitty.
Yeah. It's just fun. I haven't seen this in like a long time. Like I said, I just picked it up from my mom's house, and
that's interesting. So this is kind of where the journey began.
Yeah. When
you're like, so why did you even get into this?
Okay, so like I said, I drove my mom crazy when I was a kid.
Okay.
I'm sure I still do.
Right.
And actually, I know I still drive her crazy, but so she and my father would sign me up for a lot of like summer activities.
Yeah.
Like I would go to Hummingbird Music Camp and Art Camp and do all those fun little things. And it's funny because no one in my family sews or quilts.
Oh, okay. So this is just kind of like...
It's interesting how it took off. She passed by the quilt store, and I think she had to stop in there. She like hems her shirts, or you know, she'll fix a little hole if she has a hole in her jeans or something. But she stopped there and noticed they had some kids classes, and she thought that it would be kind of a fun thing. So she signed me up for some summer classes, and I took it. My first teacher's name was Becky Welch.
Is she still around?
She does. I actually work with her now at the quilt store. So
everything's come full circle. Does she remember you as a kid?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I was one that was never forgettable. I was kind of a tough kid sometimes, but yeah, Becky was the one who taught me these quilts when I was a kid, and now I work at the quilt shop, which is named Quilt Works. It's on Wantabo and Manal.
Okay, Wantabo and Manal.
Yeah, it's right next to Big Lots and Harbor Freight, and there's a Key Juice and like a Neinstein's there.
Yes.
It's in that parking lot, and
there's that Walmart place.
Yeah, the neighborhood market just moved in there not too long ago.
Yeah, okay, we know where that's at. Now I had to think about it. Yeah, Wantabo and Manal.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's called Quilt Works, and I work there on the weekends. I work there on Saturdays, and
nice.
Becky also works there. So
are you like the lead specialist, or like because you have actual knowledge of doing it, not just like selling.
Well, all of the girls that work there have been quilting for years.
Okay, so it's
not just anyone can work there. You kind of have to know.
And that kind of goes back to the Best Buy and the Apple Store days. I mean, you just can't go into there and become a geek sweat. You have to know what you're actually doing.
You kind of have to know a little bit. Well, and the reason behind Quilt Works is because people come in to learn this art, and they want knowledgeable staff who do the actual work.
Right.
Where you can go to some places like
Hobby Lobby
or Joann, and they carry fabric, but they don't necessarily know anything about it.
Well, they don't know the challenges you're going through.
Right.
They don't know. I mean, sometimes when you're learning something new like this, you're like, you know, how can I do this better? Or you have a problem, you're like, you know, how do I fix this?
Right.
And then if you've never done this before, you never had to solve that problem, so you never
So
had
it's
that.
like you can't really speak to help them
Right,
if
you're
they're
like,
not sure.
You're like having this issue with whatever, and you're like, well, I've never had that problem because I've never done it
Right.
before, so how can I even help you? So
And, you know, people come in and ask specific questions of like what kind of needles to use, because
Right.
there's different needles for different things that you have to do. There's different types of thread for different things that you do. There's
Right.
like a bunch of different little variables that you kind of need to know.
yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's
And I'm by no means, like, I don't know everything about
right.
it. I still learn every single day something new in
Right.
this art. And, you know, I'll be 25 in February. Is it
Okay.
February yet?
yeah. Well,
Or is it tomorrow?
no. Monday is February.
Oh, tomorrow. Tomorrow's my birthday month. So I'll be 25 next month. And so I've been doing it since I was 9 or 10. So, you know, 15-ish years.
Right.
That's still learn stuff.
Yeah, but it's a pretty solid time into the business. You know, 15 years is, wow, that's a lot of time.
And of course, when I'm a kid, I made those quilts when I was a kid, but you know, I still went to school. I still had friends. I had birthday parties. I didn't do it all the time.
Yeah, we're not like sweatshop
little kids.
like quilt shop. Yeah.
Sweatshop in my house.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, like more quilts. You know.
Right. So I would just do it every now and then for fun, or if I needed to make like a little baby blanket for one of my mom's friends or one of my grandmother's friends, I would make stuff like that every now and then. But
okay. That's pretty cool. What kind of obstacles do you see that happens in this business of starting something from the beginning? We kind of briefly mentioned that in passing earlier.
Yeah, what I found to be really difficult is that I don't think a lot of people understand what goes into creating things.
Right.
Especially like this. And I just showed you like my first ones. I haven't even shown you like some of the more other things I've done yet. But there's a lot of time and effort that goes into creating this stuff.
Now that's on a few layers. Obviously, that's just straight up design. What's going to look good together? What patterns are going to go? Or
like fabric is really expensive. You
Right.
know, you buy it by the yard.
right.
And
Or bolt. Is that the
you
term?
could, but that would be really expensive.
What's a bolt?
A bolt is usually about 15 yards of fabric
Okay,
wrapped
which is-
around a little piece of cardboard.
Yeah, which is like 45 feet, right? 15 yards.
Yes, yeah, it is.
So you have crazy amount.
Yeah. So, you know, but 1 yard of fabric of good quality quilting fabric can range anywhere from like $10 to $12 a yard.
Oh wow, so that's pretty expensive.
It's very expensive. Of course, you could go to like Joann's or Hobby Lobby
Right.
and get stuff that's $3 or $4 or $5 a yard. However, from my experience, they have some very cute stuff, but when you make it a quilt and you wash it a lot and you use it a lot, from my experience, those fabrics don't have the quality that hold up.
Yeah.
They do fall apart.
Yeah, Grandma's quilt, I've had it for probably a good solid 10 years now.
Yeah.
And it's still soft and still, you know,
She probably used good material.
Yeah, well, it's Grandma, so,
Yeah,
you know.
of course. Grandmas always do the best thing.
Thank you, Grandma. But, yeah, so we kind of talked about that. So one aspect is, oh, there's Chloe. Chloe! She's like, I'm down here, guys. Why aren't you down here? Step one is like actual design. Step two is actually making it, right? And then 3 would be probably selling it or marketing or something like that, right?
And, you know, I don't do a lot of the design part. I mean, I pick my fabrics and I put things together, but as far as like what the pattern is,
right.
I usually buy someone else's pattern and make it, or
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. So I can't take credit for
But you can take credit
design. I can take credit for picking the fabrics that go together and putting it together
and actually making it.
right. I'm not a pattern maker, so
right.
Yet at this point anyway.
There's still time.
It could happen.
But that's pretty cool. So also building the whole business. Now, how many followers do you guys have on Instagram? What kind of following do you have, or how are you getting that moving? You know, because no one sees. Everybody just sees the external thing. Like maybe 5 or 10 years from now, you'll have like, you know, Made So Modern Shop, and you'll be doing all this stuff and on the YouTube and doing all this crazy stuff. And But no one's going to see you right now in the trenches building this thing from the bottom, right?
Yeah, right now I haven't like pushed my business to go on a larger scale at this point. I'm kind of letting it organically come together because
Interesting.
Right now it's not my main focus. My main focus is being a teacher.
Right.
But I also do want to eventually have this other business, and I do it for fun. So
okay.
I'm really starting this business and doing this for fun.
So it all started with just kind of like back when you were 9. I like to do this because
I like it.
Yeah. What does it do? Does it relax you, or does it just?
Yeah, it does.
Is it like reading, or?
It's very relaxing, and I think it's so much fun. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
this sounds so lame.
No.
All of my friends call me like an old lady. They're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you're gonna go do grandma things tonight," and I just don't understand that. They don't understand it.
Right. Well, I like to create things too. So I do graphic design,
Right.
web design, and obviously video and photography and stuff like that. So I understand what you mean by just
Right.
like there's just a simple fun and sheer excitement you get of making something from something.
Right.
And whatever that something and something to something is always different. But you're taking kind of materials and making it into a nice blanket.
Right. And
Afghan, or that's the yarn stuff, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't do much with yarn, at all, but.
That's pretty difficult too.
So as far as like the social media stuff goes, I have a lot of my friends following me, which has been really nice and supportive. It kind of all started with when I got older, I started making more than just quilts.
Okay.
I make other little things too, and some of my friends and family, they're like, "Oh, this is really cool. Like, can I buy something like that from you?" And then it just kind of
happened.
It just kind of started. It just
Yeah.
kind of happened, and so it's still a growing thing, and I'm letting it kind of grow organically and naturally at this point. But I am looking to expand it soon.
Yeah, at some point.
I mean,
yeah, at some point you're gonna have to get the website going. How long does it take to make one of these quilts?
well, okay, so that's
So we saw the finished product. Let's.
those were like very like this was when I was a kid.
Now we're
so
pulling out the magic bag.
You
made
I made
this?
this bag.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
I thought this was like the magic bag of.
Well, it is. It has lots of stuff in it.
Oh, that's cool.
However, I did make this duffel bag.
That's really cool.
So you could take this, obviously.
How long does this take to make?
Oh, man. I think I got this done in like a couple days.
This is really cool.
Yeah,
Look at it. It's all perfect and zipper and purple.
Yeah, I put zippers in it. And
This is like all the...
I have to finish the insides. So you see there's still some raw edges on the inside. What I would do is I would take some fabric and wrap it over this and sew it down so you wouldn't see this on the inside.
Yeah.
But
I kind of like the unfinished look.
Yeah, well, it's industrial.
But it feels like this quilt, feels like quilt material. Like I would just like this could be like double as a pillow. It's just so comfy.
I actually made this with canvas.
Oh, really?
Not like like a painting canvas.
Yeah,
but
not like this canvas?
Right. But it's kind of this, very similar. It's like a very sturdy fabric.
Like a burlap or something. That kind of sturdier.
Yeah, sturdier.
It's obviously not burlap, but...
No, it's not burlap, but I know what you mean. So this was another quilt I did.
Oh, that's beautiful.
A while ago. So this is where I showed you the difference. So now I quilt it like with stitching instead of the ties. You can see all my kitty hairs. They like to hang out on my quilts.
So does Chloe, yeah. No, they love quilts. Cats do. They get all nestled in there. And
so I was saying earlier that I have my
yeah.
cats and they help me. So.
I definitely see what you're talking about.
So
Instead of
it's
having
different.
the floss ties, now we have
now
this
I
actual...
just do thread. Oh man, see, like my cats like to sleep on this, and it's
yeah,
white, so you can really see their hair. I should have rolled it.
No, it's
before I
okay.
came.
It's not a problem.
But
yeah, that's cool.
So you can see the difference.
Yeah.
The stitching on here now holds the batting in place, whereas when I was younger, I would do the ties to hold the batting in place.
Right.
So this is a lot more common in the quilting field.
Both still acceptable styles, though.
Yeah. The quilt that you have from your grandma, did she stitch stuff on it like this? Or?
She had it, she didn't have the machine.
Oh,
so
you were saying that.
So she did all the prep work like this and got it all sewed down.
Uh-huh.
Sewed down? Is that the...
Sewn down, yeah.
I don't know, sewn down?
Yeah.
She got it all in place and did everything. She did like 90% of the work.
And then she went and had someone quilt it for her?
Yeah, she had someone with the machine do all the whatever that is.
So this is just a little bit, this is a bigger quilt.
That's pretty beautiful.
This is actually like a lap size quilt.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of the smaller ones I've done, whereas those are very small. But again, I was a kid learning.
Right.
So definitely.
Oh, cool. Look how it's just different colors and the blues.
Yeah.
I like this.
And this is more of a modern look because the modern idea has really spiked up a lot with
Well, this is beautiful,
some
though.
of the younger people. They do a lot with white and solids. And
The hipsters?
I don't know if they're hipsters.
The younger people.
So, and on my first quilts, I just would turn it inside out.
Yeah.
And then stitch a close. But now, when you do it this way, you have to put something called a binding on the edge.
Oh, that's what this is?
Or else it would be a raw edge. You know, it wouldn't
it'd
be
be like
finished.
it'd
It'd
be
be
like
like the inside of that bag.
Gotcha.
So I had to have something to finish it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty beautiful.
So that's another.
How long
This is a finished.
How long does this take?
So it depends on the size
Right.
of the quilt, and it depends on the pattern that you're working with, and it depends on how often you work on it. You know,
Right.
it can vary, but it does go in stages. So the first step you do is you make a top.
Right.
And I have a top that I haven't put anything with, so you can see the back of it. This is another one that I.
Oh, wow. So this is like the very beginning.
No, this is the very beginning of quilting. Yeah.
Yeah.
You put together a top.
Okay, so this is the top. This is pretty cool. This is gorgeous.
Yeah, you put together a top, and so you can see all the backside of what it
Oh,
looks
wow.
like.
This is pretty cool.
So you can see all the stitching and all of the different.
So you'll have to
steps.
stitch all this stuff into place, cut it out, do all
I
this
have to
craziness.
cut all of my fabrics, stitch it, press them with an iron, put it all together.
Wow, that's beautiful, though.
Yeah. See, look at the little pandas.
Yeah. Oh, they are little pandas. And look, it's little panda food.
Oh, it could be. It could be. They're flowers, but yeah, it's this. Right
Pandas
here.
eat flowers, right?
Yeah, I can see that bamboo. So this, so this is where it starts. So the top.
Right.
Then after the top, you have to put batting, which is this
Oh,
stuff
okay.
in the middle,
Yeah.
and you have to have a back side.
So this
And
is what makes it all bouncy and comfortable.
Yeah, you layer it kind of like a sandwich.
Okay.
We call
yeah.
it a quilt sandwich.
Technical term.
It's pretty technical. So when you lay it out on a table and you sandwich it all together, you have to pin it together because you don't want anything to move around.
Right.
So you pin it all together and you have to put your pins very close together so that it doesn't move around.
Right. This is pretty cool.
Yeah. So I thought I'd show you the different steps and process.
Yeah, this is very cool. So we have the finished product. This is step 2, right?
Right. And then step 3 is starting to quilt on it with the lines. So you can see I've already stitched some lines on here.
Yeah. And that will just ultimately hold
And
it in
once
place.
once I get everything.
These are cool just patterns. I like how
Yeah.
modern this is.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's why we
This
call it
is-
Made So Modern, right?
Yeah, I like the modern stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of the older time quilters who have quilted a lot, they do some things that are more traditional.
Right.
And
Color and pattern wise, right?
right, exactly. The fabric choices are more traditional. and
But I
stuff.
like how these, I don't know, it just
To me,
works
this
so
looks
well.
this is very southwestern looking.
Yeah. You're right about
So-
that. And it works together. I like
Yeah.
it. You have little mountains or V's or something.
Yeah.
And I don't know. This
This
is all
fabric is one of my favorite designers. Her name's April Rhodes, and this is the company who creates this fabric is called Art Gallery Fabrics.
okay.
And so it's very soft. This is very soft.
Yeah, that's very
The quality
soft.
is, you can tell, this is soft too, but you can feel how silky this is.
Yeah.
And this is just the brand.
That's nice.
The brand has a little bit more of a silky, softer.
That's a beautiful.
So.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So then
that's
once you get here,
right.
then you do the quilting and you have all the lines and then you're done.
Ah, okay,
After you
so
do the
this is-
binding. This is the final last step.
We have like a quilt pile of stuff here.
Sorry.
No, it's all good.
I'm like everywhere.
No, but it's cool. That's really cool to see the process here.
Yeah.
I don't know much about this, so I was kind of really curious just about this process and then about how you're building your business, of course, as well too. So this is an episode we're talking about a lot of different things.
Yeah. And these quilts can take anywhere from, depending on the size, I would say it probably takes a few weeks from start to finish if you work on it quite a bit.
Right, so it'd take maybe, if you're doing it all day, every day, would it be like 48 hours of time? Or would, how much time?
Well, with the cutting all the fabric and stitching it together and then layering it together and quilting it all, it can, if I were to work on it straight without
Right.
stopping or sleeping or eating, I could probably get them done with like in 3, 4, 5 days, but
Oh, wow.
that's like nonstop.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of time that goes into making these, and we were kind of talking about how other people in the industry, don't put all the love into it. It's mass produced in China or something like that, or
Right, and so that's another part of like the business, is I really just enjoy making this stuff because I enjoy it.
right.
And I like sharing that with others.
Yeah, sharing the love and the passion and the heart and soul that goes into it, right? The love.
Right. So you can buy a wallet from China
Right.
for $5 at Walmart.
Right.
Okay. But you could also buy a handmade wallet, which
Oh,
I do make wallets.
Oh, this is
So
cool. I like this.
Yeah, handmade. But these I would charge like $25 for.
And I would honestly pay $25. Well, obviously not I'm a girl, so I'm not going to use this because I might get laughed at.
You could use it. This one's a masculine looking one, but it's...
Well, this is the
But
more
you're
of the
right.
masculine. If I rolled into a Walmart paying with this, people might start asking questions. But no, this is cool.
Yeah.
Is this leather?
It's actually a paper product that washes and it wears like leather, and it's very sturdy and
Oh, this
durable.
is paper?
It is, but it's...
Yeah, it doesn't smell like anything, but it's really cool.
It smells like paper.
It smells like Dunder Mifflin, the
Yeah.
paper place. No, it doesn't smell like anything, but it's really cool. That's beautiful.
Yeah, so, but something like this takes me 4 or 5 hours to complete. So it takes some time
Yeah, this is beautiful.
to make.
That's cool.
And that is a struggle of making a business.
Right.
Is having time, and the materials cost money, the time cost money,
Right.
and selling it, again, at a little bit higher price, but that's because it's handmade.
Well, this is handmade. This is really cool. If you're listening to this on Stitcher or iTunes, you can't really see what we're talking about here, but this is just a beautiful purse. Oh, well, this is a wallet, right?
It could be
Clutch
yeah.
or something. I don't
Yeah.
know the terms. But it's really beautiful. Very well done. This probably looks beautiful in 4K. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so you
Thank
get
you.
what you pay for, really.
You
And like
do.
you said, yeah, you can get a Walmart wallet, which I hope...
And you do that, and
Sure,
that's okay.
sure. But I hope people can actually see what we're showing here and actually get a sense of what we're talking about, because this is pretty cool stuff. All handmade, which I didn't know that everything we're going to be looking at today is handmade. And she's just pulling out more stuff from her magic
Oh, here's
bag.
another wallet.
Oh,
So
that's
I
beautiful
make
too.
Tons of wallets. And my latest fun is keychains, key fobs.
Oh yeah,
So you put these on your keys, like your...
yeah. This is cool. This is really beautiful. Look at the little X's.
Yeah, isn't that cute?
Yeah, it is cute.
Every little detail,
Yeah, I can feel the love here. You can feel the details. I like this one here too. So do you not have you need to get like a Etsy store or something. Are you on Etsy?
I do, but I don't have anything listed right now because I'm working.
This would kill on Etsy.
Well, I'm working on putting more stuff up. I had I had my wallets up,
Mm-hmm.
and I sold them, and I just haven't. I've been building stock right now.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a lot easier.
And you're
if
just
you
one
have,
person.
Right, it's a one-person operation.
Yeah, if you just have an Etsy store and everything's out of stock.
But
Well,
I do. It's etsy.com/madesomodern.
Oh, okay, there we go.
So I do have an Etsy store.
And Pinterest,
I
man,
don't have them on Pinterest, but you can buy stuff now on Pinterest, can't you?
yeah, you can buy stuff now on Pinterest, on Twitter. You can order pizzas on Twitter. Well, yeah, you can buy stuff on Pinterest, Twitter now, and obviously Facebook stores.
So I do have an
Etsy.
Etsy shop, and
So etsy.com/madesomodern. We'll put it in the description here. I'm still burping from the burrito. And I'm still very thirsty from the burritos.
and
Oh, this
I
is
don't know
beautiful.
if you need. So for spelling, you can do Made So Modern.
Made so modern, and looking at the business card right here, trying to hold it steady.
Yeah. And I do have, and my Facebook is not currently working, as I said earlier, but
These are cool.
I do have an Etsy shop, etsy.com/madesomodern. And like I was saying, it's easier for me to make a bunch of stuff to build stock than just, it's hard because you want to show a picture of what you're buying.
Right.
You want to see a picture of what you're buying. So it's easier to do that than having a bunch of stock than just putting up stuff and then making it as they're ordered.
Right.
Because I want my customers to be happy with the time frame. If I do a lot of things to make to order demand, they could take some time, depending on what it is.
Right, whether it's a quilt or a purse or a fob.
And I always do custom orders. If someone wants something, I would make it for them.
Now, does that even come to the sense of if I gave you the fabric and said, this fabric's been in my family for this, or I really like this pattern, just do something with it?
Mm-hmm. I could
make something out of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Anything custom I could do. I've made purses, wallets, bags. I've made makeup pouches, quilts. I mean, I could almost make anything that you wanted.
So what's been the struggle for starting this thing from the very bottom? And we kind of talked about this briefly earlier in this episode and in passing, but nobody sees the hard work that it takes. Everybody sees 5 years later, like we talked about, where you have, the massive operation and people said, well, how did you do it? And no one sees, like, I didn't pay myself for 5 years and I worked at night, No one sees that because no one's living that journey with you. So kind of explain that process of starting a business.
Well, like I kind of said before, I've been letting it go organically, but it is a struggle because you have to keep coming up with things that people want to buy. You can't just make stuff that...
Yeah, you can't go stagnant with designs.
Right? you gotta make stuff that people want. Coming up with ideas that, coming up with things that people want that you don't think of every day.
Right. Like I wouldn't have thought about the key fobs or the wallets. Really, I thought we were just talking, or the purse, or I mean the bag. I thought we were just talking quilts today, but you do it all. So
I do.
That's
make
really
a lot
cool.
Of different things. It's been a struggle as far as the cost of materials.
Right.
It's expensive. Like I said earlier, it's like $12 a yard for quality fabric.
Right. So there's a capital investment involved, right?
Right. So because of the price of materials, the cost of my items are higher.
Right.
Especially with the time involved. So it's a struggle sometimes because people don't understand that a lot of time and effort and love, like you were saying, goes into it.
Right.
And I think going up against chain stores who make these in a factory and they can get them for $1 a piece.
Yeah, they make them in Indonesia or Vietnam or something, or Cambodia, and they just mass produce the
But
heck
I do
out of them.
think that like the handmade industry is kind of making a comeback. The small business stuff is really
I think so too. I think you're right.
working.
It's exploding, I think, because that's why Pinterest is there, obviously. Etsy. There's a bunch of other ones. I can't remember. There's Etsy, other Etsy-like stores. I can't remember the names, but yeah, I mean, otherwise those wouldn't be there.
Right.
And you see all this stuff, and I'd rather pay handmade stuff from like a friend that I know that did it versus like big box
And you
store.
don't know where it came from or
there's
nothing attached to it.
Yeah, there's an inherent coolness factor, I think, when you get it something from a friend or someone local, right, or something that's handmade. You're like, okay.
It's kind of the curse sometimes because I'll go to a store and I'll see something and I'll look at it and be like, oh, I can make this.
Right.
So I don't end up buying it. Like at Target, I'll just go home and make something similar.
Right. Now, you could also do pillows and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've made pillowcases. I've made throw pillows for your couch and stuff like that.
So everything's pretty much... what's your biggest fear when you're doing all this, like building this business and taking the time to do it? What kind of struggles are you facing there?
As far as my biggest fear, I would say my biggest fear is when somebody buys something that I spent a lot of time making that they don't love it. Like, I really care about...
So it's, the end product.
Right. I really care about what people get. And, sometimes I worry that, they see it online, but they don't get to see it in person. And then when they receive it, I worry that it's not maybe what they expected it to be.
Yeah.
And so that kind of is a fear for me, even though I know it's a great quality product. I don't know sometimes what they expect. Do they expect something like a China sweatshop stuff, or do they expect something that's handmade?
Right.
And so that can...
I think that comes along with anything you do creative-wise.
And
You're basically putting yourself out there in a big way.
And I'm my worst critic.
Yeah.
I always look at stuff.
You're like, oh my gosh. But stuff that you would see, like the binding on the inside of the canvas bag, you're like, oh, I need to finish that. But
I said that right away. I'm like, don't look inside the bag.
But I kind of like that. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
but everybody has their own style, of course. But like you said, you're your own critic. So you're like, is it perfect enough? for someone to say, hey, I
Right.
love it, and give me a good
Right.
review and share the
Right.
share the word.
Yeah.
Or share
And
the.
I've had a few friends, buy my wallets from me and
Mm-hmm.
my key fobs, and they really like them, and they've given me great feedback.
Yeah.
And so that does make me feel good.
Yeah, but you put yourself out there to somebody, they like order it from Etsy or something, and it gets shipped to like, I don't know, St. Paul, Minnesota or something like that.
Right,
And you're like,
some random place
and
you
you're
don't
like,
even know.
And you never hear back from these people.
You're like, oh, is it just sitting there?
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing. Like, if they buy something, I want them to use it.
Right.
I don't want it to just sit in a corner and collect dust.
Right. It needs to be used. Well, heck, if it's a blanket, yeah.
I can understand like a quilt hanging up or being on over the couch, not being used every day. Like, that's understandable. But as far as like wallets or bags or purses,
Oh, right.
like, I like seeing people use them. I
Yeah.
don't like them just sitting like, oh, I bought this, then I don't want to use it.
Right. Because it's so handmade and everything like that. Like those purses though are kind of like, or I guess the wallets. Mm-hmm. Those are like really nice.
Well, thank you.
So you're like, I don't know if I should use this day to day, but
Well, this stuff that I make them with is very sturdy,
Oh, okay.
and it's actually machine and washable and dryable.
oh, that's
This
cool.
paper stuff, and
It doesn't feel like paper, but it doesn't feel like leather.
it's a weird stuff.
Yeah.
I love it, but it's very sturdy, and you can wash it and dry it. It does wear a little. It gets a little softer like leather
Oh,
once
that's
you
cool.
wash it and
Yeah,
dry
yeah.
it and use it. It does get a little softer like leather, but it still holds up.
Where do you come up with these ideas? Because this is pretty cool. I would never think about this, but I'm not in the
Right.
handmade
Well, And
accessory
again,
business.
like, I'm not a pattern maker. This
Right.
is a pattern that I did purchase from a pattern maker.
Ah,
and,
okay.
And so I was able to reproduce the wallet based off of someone else's pattern.
But it's still very cool. It's still very you, and it's handmade.
Yeah, but I can customize the
And I like
the
how
outside.
I like how you took the time, and the zipper's pink, which matches the color profile of this
Right, the
paper,
tones
and then
are-
it syncs up with the flowers. There's a lot of thought goes into this.
Yeah. And I like to go fun and wild with someone like the blue one. I have a hot pink zipper in it.
Yeah, I like
But it
this
still
one.
kind of goes with the gray and the blue. It's pretty.
My sisters would love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so putting yourself out there is your hardest part. You're the biggest critic, and you just want to deliver 1,000% quality product, and people are expecting maybe 100%. You want to.
I want to give them the best work. I want anything that I sell.
Or put your name on.
Or put my name on. I want to be proud of too.
Right.
Like, I will redo something 100 times until I see it's perfect. I could do something, show it to someone else that maybe doesn't quilt or sew,
Right.
and it looks perfect to them. But to me, I'm like,
Yeah,
that
you notice
stitch
it.
doesn't look right. So I would redo it. I'll redo it 100 times until I know it's right.
That's a blessing and a curse, because I'm kind of like that in the creative way too. Or just in life in general. It's like you notice that, and once you see it, I can't unsee it. The mistake
Right,
or something like that, and then
exactly.
it's like. But did you ever watch King of the Hill?
I have, yes.
Okay, I'm going with the weird reference here. In King of the Hill, I remember this from one of the things. Hank Hill's very like American, very like do like what you're doing. Like everything has to be 1,000% quality, great. I'm going to put my name behind this product. And I distinctly remember one of the episodes he was talking, and they were doing something, and Bobby was like, "Well, we can cut that corner. We don't have to worry about it. Let's just get this project done or
Right.
something." I don't remember the exact situation here, but Hank was like, "No, we can't do it like that because I see it, and then I see the problem." And Hank, Bobby's like, "Dad, no one's gonna see it but you,
Yeah,
or no one's gonna know about it but us." And he's like, "Well, son,
that's the point.
Bobby, I know it. I'm always going to see it. And that's the problem. So we have to do it right." So they go back and do whatever they were doing again and make it perfect. But once you see it and you know about it, it's like you can't unsee it. It's like haunting you.
It does. It does. It's like a glaring
Like-
thing, But there are things that you do have to get past in this art. There's
Yeah,
some things that you can't control.
Right,
and
we're
there's
humans.
Some things, like there's sometimes when you put a lot of effort and work into it, you just gotta move on.
Yeah. But yeah, once you're making stuff too, you just have to. I don't know. What's your thought? I mean, because you're human, right? We're both humans. You're not perfect. There's always going to be something. So, what's the quality control aspect? Just 100 and 1,000 times % Danyella approved, and then
Yeah, always.
and then hope it makes a big impact on someone else's life, right?
Well, and even if it doesn't, it's still my product, and
Right.
someone else is going to see it, and I don't know who's going to see it.
Yeah, it
So
could
that
be-
person could be like the most famous quilter sewer, and
Right.
she sees it and says, "Oh, that's a piece of junk."
Right,
Like,
or-
I don't want that. But
Yeah,
if my product's out there, I want them to say it and be like, wow, that was really well made.
This is really cool. Yeah, that's a good point. You bring up a great point. Two things. Nowadays, word of mouth is big because of the internet, right? Mm-hmm. So if you do something that's maybe not 100%, right, or Danyella approved, and you get it and you get a bad review, now it's on you for the rest of the time, right? Mm-hmm. Before, it would just be like if I bought it and, I would just tell my mom and social people, and no one, that's where it would end. It would die there, right? Mm-hmm. Now with the internet, everybody knows what's going on with reviews and everything like that, so you have to make sure your products are 100%.
Word of mouth is the best advertisement there is, I think.
Right. But and the second point is you don't know who's buying this on the other end, or you don't know who they're gifting it to.
Right, exactly.
Or you just don't know where the product's going to end.
You don't know where the product's going to end, and that is an important factor to it.
So if you do everything absolutely perfect every time, maybe it will land in the perfect spot one time, and that's all you need.
And that's all you need is that one time. And, I really just want it to be the best quality, the best product. As I think any person who does design or art, you want it to be a top quality product, because that ultimately is what's going to make you or break you.
And that's what's going to set you apart from everybody else.
And set you apart.
If you wanted to make mass produce these things, you could put zero love into it, zero heart, zero passion, get a machine and, just sweatshop it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you could.
Or you could do it how you're rolling and put all the love and passion into it.
Exactly. That's really my...
So, branding-wise, what are you doing branding to get this thing moving in the sense of, this is all handmade, modern stuff, which is a cool name, Made So Modern.
Yeah.
I like that.
That was, I think, my first branding move was coming up with a name for the stuff. I think that, I was making this stuff and kind of selling it to my friends or selling it to family or giving it away, actually. I didn't even really sell a lot of it in the beginning. Mm-hmm. I just kind of was like, oh, I made this thing. Have it. Like,
right.
And so then I would get the ideas like, hey, you should start selling this stuff. It's really cool.
Right.
And I said, okay. So I opened up my Etsy shop.
And this is an internal dialogue, right?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, Danielle, you should sell this. And you're like, okay, Danielle, let's do it. Right?
Well, yeah. And with other people, they'd be like, oh, you should sell this stuff. It's really cool. And that gave me the idea, like, okay, I really should start selling this stuff. I could make, a little extra money.
Right.
It'd be cool. And so that's when I made my Etsy shop, but I needed a name for my Etsy shop.
Ah, okay.
And I was like, okay, now it's time to get clever and creative.
Right.
So I knew, I liked the modern stuff.
Right, so you're like, okay, first, somewhere in there we're going to have modern, right?
Right, and there's a couple of other inspirations that made me come up with my name. Mm-hmm. But I said, oh, well, I'm making this stuff. It's sewing, and I was like, so okay, I can try to do a play on words with the word sew, and so I just kind of came up with Made So Modern.
It's beautiful. It's a cool name.
Yeah.
This is gonna probably be, this journey's just starting now.
It's just starting for me,
which is pretty cool because we're seeing it at ground level. But who knows where this is gonna take? What are the goals, or do you have any kind of dreams and aspirations for this?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a really supportive husband.
Right.
And he wants me to grow this because he thinks it's really incredible.
There's something you have here. You have a great idea here.
Well, and it's an art that I feel is kind of lost with a lot of the younger generation.
Well, I would agree with that.
It's coming back. I follow lots of people on Instagram who are young like me who quilt and sew, but like I was kind of made the joke earlier, some of my friends call me it's like a grandma thing.
Right.
Because a lot of my sewing friends are older, but I love hanging out with them. We mesh well, we get along well, we do things that are similar. Mm-hmm. Is that gonna slam shut?
I don't know. We're looking at the door here. Maybe. We're just watching it slowly close.
I thought maybe it was going to slam. I was worried.
Oh, no.
So, I think it's something unique that I do that a lot of my other friends don't do. But I do have a couple of friends who are starting to get into it.
Oh, that's cool.
I think they've seen some of the things I've made and they're a little bit inspired. So trying to get them into it too.
Yeah, this is a different art, and I didn't know anything about it besides what grandma's always taught me and that kind of stuff. Going back to that reference that you're talking about, and I'm not saying that that's all only people do it,
No,
but this is beautiful stuff, and this has a potential to explode because it's modern, which is cool. I like modern, but it's like handmade, which is like
also exploding.
Yeah, also exploding now. So there's a lot of potential here, and it's just really cool and beautiful designs.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
It's really cool. Definitely proud to have this like anywhere in your house or as a gift. So it'd be cool once you get Etsy rolling and stuff for Christmas stuff.
Like I do, but right now I don't have anything listed. But after I leave here today, I'll probably go and list some of this stuff back up because I want people to be able to go to my shop and see some of the things that I showed here today.
Right.
But going back to where my goal is.
Yeah.
I do have a supportive husband that wants me to eventually be able to grow this into a full-time thing. Because right now I am doing it as a part-time gig. I am a teacher in my normal days. But
the normal days.
My normal days, my Monday through Friday. I usually only have time to do this on the weekends. Or days off or during the summer.
Right.
But our goal is he wants to be able to, in his own career, make it high enough in his current job, his promotions and stuff, make a decent salary to support the both of us and allow me to be able to do this full time and sell. Because I think if I was able to do it full time, I would really be able to make a good, income for our family too.
Yeah, I think it's really cool what you're doing here. And of course, this is all Albuquerque stuff, so there's a lot of love there. This is really cool. I don't know how else to say it. You're building something. You're building something from the bottom, which is immensely hard. If anybody else here is watching it and thinking about starting a business or starting something from the bottom, it's immensely difficult, but it's immensely rewarding as well too.
Yeah.
The process is so much fun of the grind.
I think the most important thing to remember is. Do something you love, number one.
Right.
Because if you're not in it, you're not going to get a good quality product and not a good quality outcome. You have to really love it. In my opinion, you have to do it for fun.
Yeah.
It's got to be a fun thing.
Yeah, you have to have some passion involved here, right?
I understand the business part of it, but if you're not having fun while you're doing it, well, I don't know. I just don't see a joy in it. And that's, to me, what comes down to is I find joy in this.
Yeah.
And if I don't love it and I'm not enjoying it, then I'm going to get bored. And it's not something that I would really see skyrocket.
Once you don't have that, the joy, the passion, the love, the interest into it, you're not going to get past the obstacles that are going to arise, month 20 when you're in this and you have a tombstone day and you're like, you don't want to work and nothing's working right. And you're like, how are you going to get past that hurdle? It's going to be the love of okay, I'm putting myself out here. I know I'm doing something right.
Right.
That's how you get past those. But if you don't have that, you're just going to give up and go on to something else.
Something else.
Right? Like a squirrel finding a nut. You're just going to go try to find more nuts over there.
Exactly.
But instead, you should just build your nut farm, right? Instead of... right?
Yeah, you're using an interesting example.
Well, I mean, that's... someone was telling me about the squirrel nut example, so I can't take 100% credit, but... Yeah, it's like a squirrel finding a nut that just go every which way, but in the end, you should have just built your own nut farm and done that. So, but if you don't have the passion, love for it, you can't get past these obstacles that arise.
Right.
That's what's going to keep you moving.
That's right.
And hoping that these things land in the places that they need to.
Yeah, and I think right now some of the focus of my business is, I do make the little things that I showed, but I also really... I work a lot off the custom order stuff. If someone wants a baby quilt or something out of t-shirts, I can make t-shirt quilts. I can make a special...
Oh, yeah. I was thinking about a quilt, a t-shirt made out of quilt material, but no, you're talking about the...
Other way around. A quilt made out of t-shirts.
Yeah, my friend has one of those, and she had all of her varsity shirts from high school.
You can make that into a blanket for
your sorority or fraternity shirts or whatever the case is.
Right.
Yeah, now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I do a lot of the custom order stuff for my business, and the little stuff is kind of extra.
That's really cool. So we're getting back down to the end of our hour. It's gone by so fast. Can you believe it's been already 45, 50 minutes?
No, honestly, I didn't know I'd have enough to talk about, but I did. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was a great experience to learn more about your business. So is there anything else that you want to encourage people or let them know about starting a business, hustling, or what? Maybe you can give us some experience and knowledge that you found.
Well,
everybody's journey is different, but
everyone's is different. It depends on where you want to be and how fast you want to get there. I've said this multiple times. Mine's organically growing. I'm letting it kind of grow.
Yeah, you're building your tribe day after day.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do what I love and share it with people who want to enjoy the things that I make. And I want it to get bigger. It's going to take some time with the way that I'm doing it.
Right.
But I guess, like I said, just make sure it's something you love to do. Don't give up on it, even if it seems impossible. There's some days where I'm like, nobody's going to buy my stuff. Nobody wants to buy this.
Right.
But then they do. And it makes me feel good again. And I think just not giving up is the most important thing.
And this thing.
And do some fun things for yourself every once in a while.
Yeah, there's people just want to get that instant gratification of, riches and all that nonsense.
Right.
And the external stuff, but the internal stuff of just growing this thing, no one sees how much time it takes. I've said this multiple times, and I think it's important because this is where we're starting now,
Yeah.
This is the grind.
Yeah, and going back to doing things for yourself sometimes. Can I show one last?
Yeah.
It's a personal project.
Yeah, of course.
So I love animals,
Okay.
and I'm working on a quilt for myself and for an employee quilt. It's an employee quilt show that we have at Quiltworks every year.
That's really cool.
So llamas.
Oh.
So here's a little llama that I made.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Okay.
And what you can't see, maybe, and you can't, but the llama's made out of different squares and shapes.
Yeah.
Like even the nose right here is stitched in. Oh, that's very cool.
So, and then here's an up close portrait of him.
Aww.
So doing stuff that you love, that's fun.
Yeah, that is cute.
It's unpredictable and fun, and you can
see the backside here of where she stitched it all together.
Yeah. The pink is from the fabric that I used. I had to get the little. I wanted to get the eyeballs out of there.
Oh, yeah.
But
I see.
There was pink around it, so I had to. That's why it looks pink on the back.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So, doing stuff that you love, and every once in a while doing something for yourself, I think is important.
Yeah, that is.
So.
Well, I guess maybe we'll end it on that bombshell, right?
Yeah.
That's really cool. So we spent the last hour with Danyella Nava, right? Well, you said that's how you say your name to the kids, so
Well, no, I just say it if for spelling, it has the word yell in it.
Well, now Facebook has
Danyella.
Facebook has that pronunciation thing of how you pronounce your name.
Yeah, it does.
So I wonder what yours says.
Mine, okay, it's just Danyella Nava. That's my name.
With Made So Modern, at Made So Modern
For Instagram,
right?
And then Etsy.com/Made So Modern.
Eventually, Facebook.com/Made So Modern, MadeSoModern@gmail.com is where you can get a hold of Danyella and all of her craft pieces.
Yeah, you can find me on his friends list also.
Yeah, if you're on Facebook as well, Danyella Nava. Danyella Nava, right?
Now you're like, how do I say it?
Right, now I can't say it normal now.
That's okay.
So you can find all of our works there, and eventually we'll get the Facebook you said rolling. But this is really cool. I'm glad you spent the last hour with us talking about something a little different on the business side.
Well, thanks for having me. It was fun.
Yeah, it's still really cool. I'm excited to see where you are in 5 years.
Yeah.
It'll be I remember Danyella when she was just worrying about, getting the Etsy going, and now she's has bigger issues fulfilling thousands of orders, right?
Well, I hope that would be very cool.
Well, that's the goal, right?
Yeah, it is a goal.
Keep sharing the love with everybody.
Yeah, I do have stuff on Etsy, so make sure and check that out.
Of course, we'll link it if you're watching this on YouTube. Link it below our video. If you're on iTunes or Stitcher or SoundCloud or anything like that, you know how to get to her. From what we said. Subscribe to us as well. Share it with your friends. What else do you want to say, Danielle? This is the very end. Is there any other nuggets of knowledge that you want to share real quick?
No, I think I've shared all of the nuggets of knowledge.
Okay. Kind of like the nuggets of burritos.
The burrito nuggets.
Recurring theme. If you didn't check it out, check out our burrito review with Federico's
and
Wex. One smells like McNuggets. And it also kind of tastes like McNuggets.
Oh, you gave it away.
I know. I told you guys I wouldn't do that in the very beginning, but
it's okay.
If you stayed and watched till this long or listened, now you know. So check that out. I don't know where Chloe's at. She's doing Chloe things, but we didn't see her in this episode. But we'll see you guys next week with our next guest, who will be a mystery, so I won't tell you who it is now, but we'll see you guys next week.
Bye. Thank you.
All right, bye guys.